Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start in 2 minutes. Good morning, Mariah. How are you? Hey, Viola. Derek?
The combination of time and one at this point. Yeah, I hear you. Well, again, we've got numbers. So if something crazy happens.
You don't have an extra one of those, do you?
Well, these, yeah, go ahead and take this one. Forget. I've got one. I was going to keep next. We're good. I'll just use this one.
We can,
I meant the other ones.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
no, I
You're
get
on
that.
John's committee.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have a discussion here this morning. Late information.
I would say if you just folks file in.
We're going to go up or down this resolution. We're going to go to this resolution up or down. I'm going to take this whole paragraph out. The former chair of this organization was from China. That means it could happen again. And they're supposed to be getting this in that info packet that you're getting right there. So I'm not going to take a chance voting on that, and I'll let the subcommittee vote on that, and they're from China.
Okay,
All right. All right, we'll have a little discussion here on this. Hey, Derek, you want to open us with prayer? You good? You ready? I'm fixing to talk about this. I'm not in favor of it myself. I'm not in favor of it. I'm just the chair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call this meeting of the Subcommittee of Natural Resources, the Resource Management Committee, to order. And at this time, I'd like to ask Representative McCullum if he'd open us up in prayer this morning. What number? 28.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything you do for us. Please help us make the right decisions. Be with us and our families as we're away. In God's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you very much, sir, Representative McCullum. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this morning we've got Representative Taylor. If you'd like to give us a brief overview of your Resolution 438.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. We're working on House Resolution 438, LC 510368. As everyone knows, there's been a lot of information about the Okefenokee, a lot of interest across the state and, frankly, across the country. What we decided to look at, and one of the things that is concerning, is so much different information. So at this point, one of the best things I felt like we could do is actually take a look at it. What are both sides saying? How important is it? And these are the things I've received questions from a number of people, lots of interest. So at this point in time, I think it would be good to study it. And that's basically what this bill does. It is a House study committee, so it falls under the Speaker's purview. He will choose who's going to be on the committee. When it was written, it was limited to 5. I'm very much open if you would like to have more people on the committee. I'd be very happy to consider that. It's important that any natural resource, not just the Okefenokee, but everything that affects our country needs to be looked at. And that's what this bill does, or this resolution.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a question number 28.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, so on LC 510368, I'm assuming that's what
Yes.
I pulled up this morning. So there's a couple of things. One, from our last question in the last meeting, it still does not have the chair of Natural Resources as the chair of this committee, and you think that's going to work out in the appointments from perhaps?
I think when it's a House Study Committee, I don't get to pick who chairs it. The Speaker has to choose that. I have no doubt in my mind that he will look to this committee and its leadership to put them on the study committee. It would be right and it's needed and that's where the knowledge is. But I don't think I have the place to do it because it is a House Study Committee and it is up to the Speaker to name members. I'm not asking for anybody. I'm not asking to be on it. It's up to the Speaker to choose the members of the committee and the leadership.
But you would follow up?
Yes, sir.
But you would expect to be on it because this is
I would
pretty-
hope so. I would
okay.
hope so, and I would expect that the chairman of this committee would be on it.
Okay.
There's no misunderstanding there. I have no doubt that that's what will happen. I'm
It was not an
optimistic.
omission for them to chair.
No, it is not
Okay.
an omission. My expectation is that your chairman will be on it, and it's right, she should be. And I would hope to be on it, but again, I have seen study committees where the person bringing it did not get on the study committee. So, thank
So
you.
I've got another area of concern, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Go
Would that
right
be
ahead.
okay?
Yes, sir.
So one of my areas of concern, we were passed out this thing about UNESCO that's mentioned on line 11 or 12 or 13 on this thing, and so a concern that I have is including that language on this bill. The thing that I had, and I don't know where it came from, but it says the current chair of the World Heritage Committee is China. It is a pretty significant concern that I have that we're included this in the language on the study committee, because I want it to be, as you mentioned in your introduction to this bill, that both sides should be included, and let's have a frank and open discussion. It would concern me if the language that introduces the study committee not would be inflammatory, but will be perhaps one-sided. I'm concerned about that language. I don't especially like, and there again, I was in another committee. I missed the first part of your meeting when you had HB 71, and I apologize for that. I only got in on the tail end. And while I am not a geologist, I'm fixing to phrase this as a question, Mr. Chair.
Isn't it true?
Is it not true? So I don't know a lot about geology. I do know a little something about economics. And I heard some of the testimony, and I'm sure there was a refutation in the original part that I didn't hear regarding titanium. It says here on line 22, whereas titanium is a common mineral that is readily available elsewhere. There was testimony in the part that I heard that said that the value of the mineral resources on this thing is in the billions with a B. And while I don't know much about geology and how available these things are, I do know that you don't find a B in the value where it is not in an area that is not rare in the accumulation. So I just want to make sure that when we're looking at both sides, let's have a fair and frank discussion, that we don't start out with one side having an advantage from the language in this bill. So, and I don't know how you were able to manage this. Is it not true? I have never been able to do it in my term, and you're a much better representative than I am. HR 438 is what we're looking at. It happens to have 438,000 acres are in Charlton, Ware, and Clinch counties, as it's stated in line 4. So, attaboy for getting HR 438 with 438,000 acres. That was truly a feat.
Well,
I just had those concerns.
okay, and I'll be happy to respond to them because
Okay.
I think everybody wants to hear both sides of this issue. It's a very important ecological area, needs to be protected. It means a lot, not just to that region, not just to this state, but to the country. It's very important. And both sides do need to be heard. And one of the first things I did when a constituent brought me this issue was go to a friend of mine that is a mining geologist to ask his opinion and get information from him. You're right, we can't be experts on everything. So I wanted to find out more before I agreed to even carry the bill. And he did tell me there are concerns about it. And I have mining in my district. I'm not against mining at all. It's important, and we do need certain chemicals and minerals. So that's not what this is about. It's about the area. Just making sure that it's not going to harm the Okefenokee. I have no problem with looking at this. The size of the area is gigantic. I get that. But we're talking about the ridge beside it, and it is a land mass. There's a lot of discussion of it. Has it been there 1,000,000 years? Has it been there 1,000 years? It was formed when the ocean stopped there. That was the end of the waters. And anyway, it's a lot to find out. I'm not trying to hide anything. I want everything exposed. I want to talk about both sides. I also feel very much a concern for Charlton County and that area. They need economic development. Every one of us in here
Absolutely.
is protective of our areas, making sure we get jobs, making sure they're good jobs. I want that too. But there's more things we can do, I think, in the area of tourism to bring more people there. I want the people in this committee, I want anybody to come and look at it, decide for themselves. This is not an easy thing to do. And I don't take on the big boys easily. This is a hard issue. One of the things that I have learned, among many, is that this is something that is an important factor to everybody. I've been overwhelmed with the support that I've gotten from across the state. And people in my district, as I said, they brought it to me because they knew, they grew up like many of us. We saw it as a kid. We know what it's all about. Don't let it be harmed. And I don't think anybody in this room wants to harm the Okefenokee. Nobody wants to. So let's just make sure, cross every T, dot every I. The old saying about trust but verify. And I think as many people that will bring us information, the better off we will all be. And that's the basis of this study committee. Find out all the facts. Is there other economic development? Are there other ways to do it? Is there something in this mining process that could be different? Is there a reason to mine it right there? There's a lot of things that need to be answered. And the way to do it is what we've always done and taught our children. Study it, research it, dig in, find out what's really going on. Find out for yourself. I would be open to having more members, if we have members of this committee that want to be on it. When it was written, I went to Legislative Council, not thinking, I guess I should have realized more people would be interested and actually want on it. I know there were some concerns about, when Legislative Council wrote it, they researched and found out more about it. That's where they came up with, there's lots of places where it's documented how big the area is, and that's where they came up with the designation of many things that are attributed to such an important area. It's been named by a lot of places as important, and they picked several of those and included in the bill. If that's offensive to someone, we can definitely consider taking that out if that's an issue.
One more. Mr.
One more. Well, you are very kind. Because I just wanted to state for the folks back home and to the author, the Okefenokee has always been a big part of my life and my kids' life. My neighbor was the last family that lived on Billy's Island, so the Lee family. They moved. They were the last family in the swamp that came off of Billy's Island, and I've been down there many times with my kids and fished, and it's just it is a treasure. So I did want to say that. I am not advocating for more members, nor advocating for myself to be on the committee. And you don't get to choose, but I would just like to state publicly that I would like to see Chairlady Smith and the representative that represents the swamp and yourself, I think, would be certainly 3 good members to be on this committee were this to move forward.
Thank you. I have no doubt that the speaker will consider those.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got number 17, Chairman Dickey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the ladies' persistence and passion on this matter down there.
I'm kind of Churchillian. I never give up.
Yeah, it's refreshing, and I thank you for that. However, I got two questions, Mr. Chairman. One, why only a House committee and not a joint House Senate committee? I think if this body were to ever do anything as you would want them to, it would take both houses to do that, as well as the governor's signature, who oversees EPD under his. So why only a House committee of 5 legislators? That be honest, I really appreciate the expertise of the chairman and the others that I serve with, but just 5 House members.
Actually, I've reconsidered that, and this was when I went to Legislative Council. I think they're standard. They just put in 5. I did not request a specific number, and I would be very open to including more people on it. The more, the better, I think. And as far as having a joint, I would love to have a joint, but this was dropped late in the session. When the bill didn't move, I said, let's study it then. And in today's world, what's happening with the Senate, I don't know that we want to put 2 House members and 2 senators in the same room at the same time, if the budget's in between them.
One other quick question, Mr. Chairman. So I guess my question is a 5-member study committee. Why would it be preferable to the whole expertise of EPD and their experts in their department that's charged with studying this thing? They and making a determination. I just don't understand what this 5-member study committee could do that EPD is not charged with doing.
Well, they are going to be one of those that will be presenting, I presume, at this study. We need them to share with us what they're finding out. People have concerns, and the only way we're going to get it is if we have people out there talking about it. So I do feel like EPD will be part of this. We want to know what they're knowing, what they know, and what they're planning on doing. I get it. They're in a process. They are in a process. But eventually, the outcome and the protection of the Okefenokee is the responsibility of the whole state. It is. And as a legislative body, we're responsible to the people of this state for what happens to it. I have no doubt EPD will do a wonderful job. They will go in depth and look at things. This is going to be kind of a hard one to say because we have a lot of folks in here. We're trusting the EPD blindly, and I'm not meaning that in an offensive way. They know what they're doing. But remember, Reagan said, trust but verify. I want to hear both sides of it, just like you want to. And I think that's another reason why. The limit of 5 was just what Legislative Council put in there. I really think it would be bigger, the better the bigger, whatever way you want to say it. I think we do need to have more people. The more people that know, I wish someone could totally convince me that it won't harm it. And then I'll go away quietly. But they haven't been able to do it yet. That's my problem. I haven't been convinced. And, I love the EPD. They have great things they do. They've worked with me in my district on a lot of things. So there's, it's an important thing. But the people of this body need to have the information too, and they will be sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Representative Buckner.
I've been trying to figure out how to ask 5 questions in one, because I know that we aren't supposed to ask but one. But so let me see if I can do this. Is it not true that UNESCO World Heritage Site is like an award, and that most of the time when we get awards, no matter where they come from, we don't have much to say over that? I'll save that answer for a minute. And my other question is that this would give us an opportunity, should there be some kind of problem with the permitting of the mining, to look at other avenues of income and economic development there that would be another option for that community should something happen and the mining not work out? And third, would you be diverse to an amendment to change 5 to 7 on line 42?
I would welcome that because I do think more people the better, and very much so. And I do agree, so many things are attached to the name of Okefenokee. Everybody's proud of it. It serves such an important part of the ecology of this country and that area, and they have received a lot of awards. But if there is an issue, I don't have a problem with taking it out if we don't want that particular thing in the bill. I don't want it to seem one-sided. I know people feel like it is, but this is a study committee to study both sides of it. It's been good for me already, I will just tell you, when I've heard some of the things that, the hardships that they're having in Charlton County. I've already been looking into a couple of other things we can do, how we can help them with a hospital, their hospital closed, and a couple of projects that are touristy, that would bring more revenue and more jobs to them. So I want to find some things that we can help that area. There's also funds available to help bring broadband, make sure, and I know their legislator is working on these things too, but it's opening up these opportunities, and just having the name out there is helping. It's letting people know they're out there and their needs. So.
Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make an amendment and a motion to change that from 5 to 7 whenever it's appropriate.
Okay, Representative Buckner, we've got a couple more questions blinking up here, so I'll come back to you. Madam
Mr. Chair, I'll wait until I hear the other conversations, but please call on me last.
Okay. I also have I'd like to suggest something to Representative Taylor. Even though it may be, as Representative Buckner said, it may just offer awards. From what I've read, the committee and the UNESCO, at one point, the chair of that committee was from China. And I'm a little hesitant to, since I'm from Georgia, I'm a little hesitant to deal with China. And if they were able to be chair one time, who says they couldn't be chair again? And it says in this information that they have significant power. They're authorized to make decisions on behalf of the world.
They're not coming to the Okefenokee, but I get, and if this is offensive in any way, disturbs you, I have no problem taking it out.
Well, I just wanted to mention that I'd probably like, when I come to my point, I'd like to strike lines 11 through 13 and just renumber accordingly, have Ledge Council to renumber accordingly. That's my first thought. My second thought, and I don't disagree with the conversation that was been going on to raise that number from 5 to 7. And I'm not saying in this next statement to make this person or this position the chair of the committee, but I'd also like to recommend we go to those, and of those 7 members, put in there that it would also be the chair of the Natural Resources Committee.
I'm very amenable to that. That's fine.
So. What now?
Would we also want the economic development and tourism chair? Because it definitely has something to do with economic development and tourism.
I don't disagree with that, but I think coming through the Natural Resources Committee, I think if we keep the scope kind of small, that's just my opinion now, keep that scope kind of small and just let the Natural Resources Committee have it, and then if the speaker wants to appoint them, and through suggestions of the author of the bill, or through a conversation with the chair of the committee, I think maybe let him do it that way. Not that I'm against it, I just think sometimes if we could start doing that, I think we always have to be cognizant of setting a precedent of what goes forward in the future. And I look back to the past, and that's the reason I'm saying this chair of the Natural Resources, because a lot of resolutions that we see have the chair of the committee on there. And the ones I've seen in the past have the chair of the committee that the bill came through. So
Usually, I thought that usually the person who submitted the resolution, and I don't know, I don't remember seeing chairs when it's the appointees of the speaker. I don't remember seeing the chairs necessarily listed out. It's kind of assumed, but I don't know that I remember seeing it listed out.
And that being just a committee member, not the chair of the committee, just as the chair of the Natural Resources as a committee member. I know we passed one in motor vehicles the other day, and the chair of the motor vehicles committee
made the chair
was,
of-
no, wasn't chair of it. He was a member
Member
of
of
the,
it.
and that's kind of what I'm saying here.
Okay.
And I think we've seen that in the past. All right, we got, I got 27, 27 first, Representative Williams. All right, Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate everybody on this committee and all the studying and the work and everything. But I respectfully disagree about changing from 5 to 7. I'm just going to put my 2 cents in, and we all have opinions. But I think if you go from 5 to 7, you get too many people in a committee, and you take the power away from the ones that know what's going on. And the comment about economic development, I kind of think you're taking away from the representative in that area. And this, like you said, this is natural resources. No dig at you, Representative, because I respect you a lot and everybody on this committee, but that's just my 2 cents.
No, that's what we're here for. We're here to discuss it, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Number 13, Ms. Williams, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm willing to make a motion to amend to add the Chair of Natural Resources to the committee.
Okay, let's hold that motion because I've asked Representative Buckner to hold hers just a minute.
Okay.
Because I've got some other lights flashing up here, and then we'll come back. But I'm actually going to come back to Representative Buckner first because she's the first to ask, and then we'll, if any motions are left, we'll come down to you down there. We'll just have a lot of motions. Number 24, Representative Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, I think this study committee is a good idea, but also like what you said about lines 11 through 13, I totally agree with you. That would be concerning to me as well.
Very good, thank you. All right, look, we've got a few members to signed up to speak, and we're going to have to keep it quick because we got rules at 9. It's 8:29. We got rules at 9, and if the bill does pass, whatever action we take and the bill passes, we're going to go right into a full committee. So we're getting into that crunch time, and we need to give people about 7-8 minutes to get across the rules. Right quick, for a couple of minutes, we have Mr. Michael O'Reilly, and if you'd come right there to the podium would be the best way to do that. State who you are and who you're with.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm Michael O'Reilly. I'm the Director of Government Relations for the Nature Conservancy. We're a global organization that has worked for more than 50 years to protect the land and waters of Georgia. On behalf of our members throughout the state, I express our support for H.R. 438, which would create a House study committee on the Okefenokee. The Nature Conservancy's work to protect the Okefenokee goes back decades, including our donation of more than 14,000 acres of land there for inclusion in the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. We care deeply about this natural landscape that provides habitat for so many species of birds, fish, reptiles, mammals, plants, people, and more. As H.R. 438 notes, the Okefenokee is unique in its status as North America's largest blackwater wetland. It plays a critically important role in the aquatic ecosystems of southeast Georgia. The plans announced by an Alabama company to operate extensive mining along the swamp's eastern boundary poses a risk to the integrity of that ecosystem. We all were at the previous hearing on that topic. That eastern boundary, Trail Ridge, not only forms a geologic boundary that's essential to maintaining the swamp's integrity, the integrity of its complex water system, it also serves as a key wildlife corridor that is identified as a priority conservation area in Georgia's State Wildlife Action Plan. Let's be clear, I want to be clear, the Nature Conservancy does not oppose all mining. We recognize that mining provides essential resources for products, but some locations are more suitable for those operations than others. And we believe that the Okefenokee is not a suitable location. Mining on Trail Ridge would pose an unacceptable risk to the ecological integrity of the swamp and to the economic vitality of the communities that rely upon the swamp now for jobs, livelihoods, revenue. I hope that the members of this committee share the concerns that I've raised, but even if you do not, I hope you will agree that this issue, the vitality of the Okefenokee Swamp and the Georgia communities that rely upon it, is one of such importance to our state that it deserves the consideration of a House Study Committee that has been proposed. So I urge you to support H.R. 438. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir. Next, we have Ms. Peck.
Thank you.
If you can go about 2 minutes now, it'd be great.
Valley. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Chair Lady Smith. The Okefenokee Study Committee is needed to consider the opportunity cost of mining to Okefenokee. It's an open committee, as Representative Taylor said, so it could include senators, whoever else wants to come. I know that the National Wildlife Refuge has invited y'all and will provide the boats and a wonderful place for you to go see the camping platform that's closest to the mining site. The future gain of building an equitable and resilient rural economy in the Okefenokee region is at risk due to mining that's expected by the Fish and Wildlife Service and independent scientists to lower the water levels of the swamp, making the southeastern basin and headwaters of the St. Mary's River go dry more often for longer periods of time. Fish and Wildlife Service just put out their letter to EPD about that. EPD has the evidence they need to deny the permit. This is not about that permit. This is about mining in general on Okefenokee's Trail Ridge. There's work to be done, data to be considered, science to be understood, case studies to be developed, such as the benefit of permanently conserved land as a catalyst to the sustainable outdoor recreation economy. A genuine long-term strategy needs to be developed through partnering with the citizens of Okefenokee to manifest what the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge can offer in human well-being, environmental services such as carbon sequestration that could be lost from peat being exposed due to lower water levels from mining, and economic growth, of course, through ecotourism and sustainable industries like forestry and renewable energy development. The Fish and Wildlife Service will be a great host, and I look forward to y'all getting to learn a lot more than when you just visited Twin Pines mining site. Thank you.
Thank you. Campbell.
Well, I just had a question. I'm a little confused on where this sits, that if the EPD comes out with one reading and the study committee has a different one, how does that work?
Well, if you're asking me, the EPD is over this permit process for this one mine. There are, which is over 500 acres. There are still at least 40,000 acres at risk on the ridge that's attached to the Okefenokee Swamp. So EPD looks to y'all, as you know, for what the laws should be to protect our natural resources and follows them. And they're looking to y'all just like your constituents are. You know, the public outcry about this is so huge that having the study committee will help you be able to talk to your constituents about the situation and answer the questions like the one you just asked me.
All right. Thank you, Representative Campbell. Thank you, Mr. Rena. Representative Buckner. Huh? Okay. We have one. Excuse, Madam Chair. y'all, it's like Christmas up here, you know. So go ahead.
There is a statement that towards the end of the session, we either have a Velcro bill, which collects everything, or we have a Christmas tree, which gets lit up. So having said that to y'all, I want to clear up a couple things. The House does not appoint senators to study committees. However, that Carl Vinson Institute of Government for several years is an avenue for the General Assembly, House and Senate Natural Resources and Environment Committees to study the issue. So number one, I want to reassure the public that we have already put in motion as of last year's biennial meeting to study the Okefenokee as a joint committee, House and Senate. So that will take place. I also have made the process stay open to enable Chair Taylor to bring this resolution before us, because I feel like it is an issue that needs to be before the state of Georgia, and the study committee, I feel, is important. I have listened to suggestions of various amendments, and as chair, I can say anything that will help this bill pass is important. I think we keep it before the public. I think we learn from the public. And I encourage you to offer your motions, and they will be either voted up or down during the process. And it's my hope that the committee here, for the full committee, will have understood and be present for this process and be comfortable with taking it up quickly once the full committee meets. However, this is how the process works. I will tell you, it has not been easy for me, because I have been the victim of misinformation and a lot of personal attacks. That having been said, it's my job as chair of this committee to hopefully lead us in the right direction. And believe me, I would be happy not to chair the committee, but I would like to be part of it. So what we'll do here, and our lead counsel will definitely earn their salary here. I suggest to our chair of the committee that we consider each motion offered, voted up or down, and then create a bill that is likely to get voted on, so we can get it out of this committee and move it to the full committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, here's, we got one more, and I'm sorry, Mr. Worley. You got 2 minutes. I didn't mean to cut you off after the other two had spoken, so let's hear from Mr. Worley and give you a couple minutes there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Chair, for your remarks, and thank you, Madam Chair, for bringing this measure for us today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, this distinguished committee. My name is Mike Worley. I'm President and CEO of Georgia Wildlife Federation, our state's oldest and largest statewide conservation organization. We were founded in 1936 in the Lanier Hotel in Macon, Georgia. So rather than talk about a national or world or global, we're Georgia folks. We have roughly 30,000 members, and we represent a broad spectrum of Georgians while remaining true to our hunting and angling roots. We've been partners with our state wildlife agency since our founding and since their founding. I've cut out a bunch of the stuff I was going to say. I'm here today in support of House Resolution 438. I want to tell you that I am encouraged by the conversation that's happened already in this committee. We're not here in opposition to mining by any stretch of the imagination. We just think there are some places that it's probably inappropriate. We also think that there are some places where certainly it's appropriate. But we are here to support the formation of the House Study Committee on the Okefenokee Swamp. This body, meaning the House, I'm a long-term observer of the House of Representatives and the legislature. This body, and particularly this committee, are known for being deliberative and thoughtful in addressing legislation that comes before it. The Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge is important enough to our state and to people around the world that its stewardship, for which we are responsible, deserves careful and responsible deliberations. Today's conversations are exactly that, and it's really encouraging to me to see it happening. We have a duty here to protect the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge for today and tomorrow, for those of us that are here and now and generations to come, both from within Georgia and as a globe, around the globe. So I'll cut out a lot of the stuff I was going to say. I encourage you to support passage of House Resolution 438 to form the House Study Committee on the Okefenokee Swamp to ensure we honor that stewardship responsibility that comes from having this treasure here in Georgia. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Worley. Appreciate that. All right, here's the posture we're going to be in. We're going to open it up. We're going to get to the motions, but we're going to open it up for the bill itself, House Resolution 438. We'd have to take a motion and a second, then have discussion, and then we'll go through each amendment that somebody might have for the bill. So at this time, I'll open the floor for a motion on the bill, and I've got number 24.
Okay, I guess a motion to approve or establish the committee.
For House Resolution 438.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got a motion. Is there a second? Second. Yeah, second. All right, now, in discussion, does anybody have an amendment? to the bill?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was thinking that I could put them all in one because there's just a couple of changes if you want to do that. On line 11, I would like to offer that we would go to the word landmark and put a period and then strike the rest of 11, 12, and 13. So it would read, whereas the Okefenokee has been designated as a national natural landmark, because that's just America saying it's a great spot, and I think that's okay to leave personally. The second one I would do on line,
Do you want, let's do one at a time?
well, unless you just want me to say what I'm saying, and then we can break them up how you want to.
Let's just do one, because
One at
it'll
a
get
time?
confusing, I know.
Okay.
People are.
That's fine.
We had a
One
lot,
at a
lot of
time.
stuff. All right, so we've got a motion to amend 438 by striking after landmark, put a period, and striking the rest of that on the end of line 11, line 12, and line 13. Now, is there a second to that motion? Second. All right, we got a second. Any discussion? Does any discussion? We got a light flashing. 28.
I apologize.
No, you're good, Mr. Chairman. All right, any discussion on that motion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion passed. Second.
All right, on line 42, change the number 5 to 7.
All right, we got a motion on line 42 by Representative Buckner to change the number of members from 5 to 7. Is there a second to that motion? Second. Got a second. Now, discussion on that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. All right, everybody in favor of that, raise their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, all those opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 5 to 4. That passed.
Okay. Now then, the last one is to say on line 43, after representatives, to include chair of the House Natural Resources Committee.
Okay, is there a second? Is any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, and that passed. All right, now, any other motions? Oh, yeah, we got another one coming here. Number 28.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to offer a motion at lines 49 and 50.
All right.
To read, the chairperson shall call all meetings of the committee, insert period, and then strike, including at least 3, comma, and inserting therein, there shall be no more than 5 meetings. The reason for that is I've never seen one that one of these city committees that you have an actual minimum number of committees. Oftentimes there'll be a maximum. So I would not like to have, you've got to have 3 meetings.
Yeah. All right, and there's a second to that. Now, any discussion? Everybody clear on what Chairman Perkle's offering up? Representative Buckner, you're like, you keep wanting to talk. All right, so everybody understands what he's talking about. Striking the minimum of 3 and just having no more than 5 meetings. All right? All those in favor of that say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, that is passed. Anybody else have an amendment? All right, so far we have House Resolution 438. First Amendment, we're going to strike out the word and A on the line 11, and then strike line 12 and 13, whereas it'll just say whereas Okefenokee has been designated as national natural landmark. The second one is on line 42. We've gone from 5 members to 7. 43, we've added as a member of the committee, not the chair of the committee, we've added as a member of the committee the chair of the House Natural Resources Committee. And on line 49 and 50, we've struck including at least 3, and that meaning we'll just have up to 5 meetings. All right, so any questions? No more than 5 meetings. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I missed page 2 where I had another amendment. Are we past that time?
No, sir.
I would like to strike lines 22 through 26 in their entirety.
Okay. All right, lines 22, y'all look at those, line 22 and 26. I think comments were made about those lines a little bit earlier. All right, so we've got a motion by Chairman Perkle to strike lines 22 through 26. Do we have a second to that motion? Got a second to that motion. Any discussion for clarity? All those in favor of striking those lines, please say aye. All those opposed? So passed. Okay, so we went through them all. That's the last one, striking 22 through 26. Now, that leaves us with the amended House Resolution 438. All those in favor of this bill say aye. Aye. All those opposed? One no. All right, so passed. Madam Chair, the chair has a question about the full committee. When do you want to?
So our notice that went out said there would be a full committee following the action of the subcommittee. So at this point in time, I can call the full committee. And in the interest of time, I'll just sit from this position. First of all, as chair, we've already had our prayer. I need a Hail Mary here in addition to all of this. But anyway, if you will please give me the subcommittee report.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, a subcommittee on Resource Management Committee met and took up House Resolution 438. House Resolution 438 has four amendments. They all passed, and so therefore we're presenting this to you as a due pass on House Resolution 438 as amended in sub.
Thank you. And before we take an action on the House Resolution 438 as amended, I think it's in order to review the amended bill. So I will ask our Committee A to clarify all these amendments. But before you do that, there was one thing I was not clear on, although I think it was in the intention of this subcommittee that the resident of the impacted area also be a member of that committee. I need to hear that from the committee. Let me just have an amen. Amen. Okay. All right. So if you will please then at that point in time review. This is the first time I got to help the aide turn on his button. But anyway, review that.
All right. Legislative Council, please correct me if I'm wrong on any of this.
It's not on.
Am I on?
You're fine.
Okay. We're good? All right. Legislative Council, please correct me on any of this. I have Amendment 1 of strike. After landmark, put a period and strike the remaining portion of line 11 through 13. Line 42, we amended 5 to 7 members of the study committee. On line 43, we added as a member the Natural Resources Chairperson. On line 50, House, I apologize, thank you. On line 50, we struck the minimum of 3 meetings to be no more than 5, I believe. Yes. And then on lines 22 through 26 is struck in the whereas section.
Thank you for that clarification. At the proper time, the chair will entertain a motion. If there are not any questions, are there any questions?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. We have a question, Chairman.
And I apologize for this, just in the sake of clarity. I'm not sure in Robert Rules of Order where the amen comes in, but does there need to be an amendment that would add the member, or is that just an understood part of what we're passing out?
Actually, in the interest of moving this bill along, I thought it important, but I will make an exception to the process and entertain a motion to that effect.
That is what I would like to, if our esteemed analyst would add that to part of the amendment, the member.
The local representative will be a member.
Will be a member, yes, ma'am.
But I do not know where that goes.
While we're doing that, I think Representative Williams has a comment.
Well, not a, I don't have a problem with this amendment at all. I think it's a fine amendment, but when you say local resident, which county are you, I mean?
Charlton.
So, okay, well then let's say Charlton County, okay.
Yeah, we need a second to that. We got a second? Okay, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Madam Chair, you're running the meeting, I'm sorry.
A pitch hit or any day on this one. So if you will repeat what we've just done for me, I would appreciate that.
Go ahead, Chairman Perkins.
This would be on line appointed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Possibly 43.
Comma, line 44.
44.
Comma, one of whom shall be the member who represents Charlton County. Should I include all three counties? This would be fine.
The member or resident?
Representative.
The representative of Charlton County. Period.
Okay, so it's not a representative of the county, it's the representative.
Yes.
So you said resident.
The member.
Oh.
I said. Shall be the House member.
House District.
House District 174. Is that what yours is? You got that, Mr. Analyst?
Maybe. We're working on it.
So House member, we want to say the district number?
Yes.
Isn't there more than one rep who has Charlton?
You're right. Just say 174.
174.
174.
Yes, sir.
Who is it? Who responds to Charlton? Well, that's John Corbett, I think.
So it's gonna be the committee shall be composed of a total of 7 members.
So I'm just making a side here. This is your government at work, but I do think it's working.
Include the House Chair of Natural Resources and the Charlton County Representative. I've never seen a number put in there. I've never seen a district number put in there.
Let's hope redistricting is over for a while.
What I had just asked for clarification just is so that it would now read, and this is a question, the committee shall be composed of 7 members of the House of Representatives to include the chair of the House Natural Resources and the representative of Charlton County. Since it's all representatives that are being appointed, that's why I was thinking it could just be worded that way instead of the number, but I don't care about the number. Yeah. Is that wording what you asked after? You want?
I think I'm like 174 in there.
Okay.
And I think our leg council has that in there now.
So, in abundance of caution, will you please read it as you have recorded?
Okay, so the committee shall be composed of 7 members of the House of Representatives, to include the chairperson of the House Natural Resource Committee and the House member from House District 174, to be appointed by the Speaker of House of Representatives, period.
Yeah, is there a second to that? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? I can't see, I don't have the board.
I think we're taking too much discretion away from the Speaker of the House in this. I mean, I'm assuming he probably would do this, but I think it's, from what I understand, it's sort of unusual to direct the Speaker to put someone from a very specific district in. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you. At that point in time, when we have a vote, the legislator has the option of voting either yes or no to the amendment. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying, this is for the amendment, yes, excuse me, for the amendment. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. One, chair recorded one nay. All right, I think we have completed the House Resolution 438 as amended in multiple areas, all of which have been voted on. Yes. I feel like I'm in the outfield. Okay. So what we need is when you're saying first, we need a motion on the bill as amended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, I need a second. All right, and then I need any further discussion. Hearing none, I'm calling for a vote. All those in favor of House Bill as amended, House Resolution 438 as amended, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. No. One nay. All right. Representative Taylor, you have your bill, and let's hope that this helps the state of Georgia move forward with respect to all Georgians. Thank you.